too.
Sean, you said something that caught my attention. Yeah, you basically said sometimes you feel like maybe you downplay yourself too much. As a stylist, do you think it's really important to kind of be your own biggest fan and sort of shout the loudest about what you've done?
Good question. I don't know. It's just me. Like, if you see my work, you're seeing my work, type of thing. Like, that's just how I've always been. Like, I don't know. Like, most people, most stylists that I know, like, they're known for their work, and like, that's how I just want to be seen. I just want to be known for my work. So like, I'd rather let someone recognize me rather than me be like, yo, look what I did. Like, yo, check my work out. Like, I'm like, I do promote my work, don't get me wrong, because that's how you get seen. But at the end of the day, it's all about people just knowing you for who you are. Like, some of the biggest names in fashion, like, they're known for a specific thing. Like, they've got like an identity that, like, when you see, like, for example, when I see certain stylist works, like, I just know it's them. I don't even need to check the credit. I'm like, I just know it's their work.
Seriously?
Yeah. A certain stylist that I can just see, like, I'm just like, yeah, I know that's your work. Like, I'll give you a good example. Like, there's a guy called Ibrahim Kamara.
As in Dazed.
Yeah.
And what we he's at Off-White now, isn't it?
Yeah. So when I see his work, like, sometimes I don't really check the credit. I'm like, this is his work.
But what?
He's amazing at what he does.
What is it about his work that causes you to know that is him?
I don't know. It's just that I think, like, he's got this, like, it's very avant-garde. Like, straight away, like, I know it's his work straight away. There's another guy, he works at GQ America. I believe he's the editor now, GQ Style America. I might be wrong. He's a Nigerian guy called I can never say his name properly, but yeah, like, straight away I know it's his work. Like, I don't know, maybe that's just me because I'm a stylist myself. So like, certain people's work I can just, like, spot away. Like his work is always pristine. It's like clean cut tailoring. Like, I can just spot it straight away. So like, that's like how I want a signature for my styling as well. Do
you know what's interesting, Sean? It's nice how the conversation took this turn, because that's what I wanted to ask you. I wanted to ask, like, what do you want to be known for? Like, and like, how does a stylist, because you know how with designers, they say designers have a design language, I feel like because you're making the clothes yourself, it makes sense for designers to be able to have that. Do you know what I'm saying? But as a stylist, where you're having to pick pieces from other places that you obviously haven't designed, I feel like I don't want to say it's harder to have like a signature, but like, how does a stylist make a signature aesthetic?
You can still have your own stamp on it. So, for example, generally, I think mood boards help me gravitate to how I can put my own signature style on something. So, for example, when I'm like, if I get a new client to work with, or I'm working on, like, let's say a press shoot or some sort of a music video, generally I'll create like a mood board, and that kind of helps me gravitate, like, how I want to style it. And then I guess, like,
hey, sure, move close to the mic,
I guess, like, as well, people may see that as my work, like, obviously as I do different work, people will see that he's got a certain way. Like, for me, my styling is always like sartorial, kind of like clean, like, some may even call it simple, but simple in the sense you're going to see that high-end element. Like, and there was at one point that I think too many people used to say I had too much tailoring in my book.
Okay.
In my portfolio.
That's interesting.
And that kind of made me feel like, oh, I need to kind of like switch it up a bit. So I did try to switch it up a bit, but yeah, my styling always still tends to gravitate towards simple, clean, minimalist.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know, because I think, I kind of like brand myself in the sense that that there's some, like, a menswear kind of stylist, even though I'm not really a menswear stylist. Like, I do women's wear as well, but I think you can predominantly sometimes see that inside my books, that there's an element of more menswear. But yeah, that's the way how sometimes people see my work. But I've had a few feedbacks from people on how they describe my work. It's very much like they can see it in like a GQ or an Esquire.
Okay, Even just thinking about what I've seen, obviously I've seen it. Yeah, particularly Esquire as well. Yeah, I get that.
And obviously that's the way I'm just branding myself in a sense that way. So if those magazines when they do come knocking on the door, that work is always there. And just in general, I just wanna
need that signature.
Yeah. Like I said, like most stylists have their own signature look, and like I can always spot it straight away.
That's sick.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh, why do I always forget my good questions, bro? Oh, this is the worst. But oh my days, my head literally went blank, fam. This is what happens when I'm tired at work, you know. Long day, fam. I've been busy recently. But do you know what, Sean? Yeah, I hope I'm gonna remember that question. But I think we can take the conversation to more what you want to tell people, because obviously when we were outside before we started recording, you were saying how you feel that there's particular narratives that are kind of left out of the styling / stylist conversation. So if I pass the mic over to you and I'm like, okay, Sean, like, what do you want these up and coming stylists to know? Like, what would it be?
I think it's very important to assist.
Okay.
It's just one of those things where I think the etiquette is important.
When you say the etiquette, what do you mean?
So the etiquette of like learning how to like treat a client, how to handle a client, just understanding the PR contacts, because it's one of those things that we can all dress, but having those elements of that, it would take you further in styling, I personally think, because like sometimes it's quite hard to get hold of these like PR contacts within the fashion industry. Like there are like directory like sites that you can actually pay to be a monthly subscriber, and you can have access to all the brand's PR contacts.
You think it's worth it?
Yeah, I signed up to it for a bit, but generally I just like made a lot of industry connections. So generally I've always got the contacts in my email book, just waiting to use them for like, let's say I've got a client that needs that specific brand, I can just like rock up to them and like, so for example, like a lot of people was asking like, oh, do you have to buy the clothes? And that's one thing sometimes I do. It does make me laugh, but obviously that's that's obviously just from people just not having that experience. But obviously when I experience them, know like there's a PR agency or showroom behind these brands that actually reach out to stylists, to influencers, to like say, hey, like you can use our pieces for like editorial shoots for red carpets and stuff like that, you know. So I think those are the real important things about styling that I think people should take into consideration. You know, it's really important to kind of know your PR contacts, because like I even see sometimes stylists when they put on Instagram or they put out an email for a stylist assistant vacancy, they always say they want an experienced stylist, and generally when they use the word experienced stylist, it's because they want someone that knows the PR contacts.
Okay,
that's how I perceive it anyway, because when I put out the word I want an experienced, that's what I mean in my head anyway. So so I think it's really important, like I think never be afraid to assist or like intern, or you know, just to kind of get to get yourself oiled in the industry, you know.
Thank you for watching another episode of Where's My Podcast. If you ever want to take in future episodes on the go, you can find us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Whilst you're there, please leave us a 5-star review. It would really help. And also, don't forget to follow us on our Instagram, WMTV_LDN, to keep up to date with the latest goings on in UK fashion. Keep it locked.